We're back. Have you ever dreamed about embarking on a journey across the United States for a year? Well, my next guest did just that, and she's here to tell us about it. Joining me is founder of Will Travel for Vegan Food, Kristin Lajeunesse. Welcome, Kristin.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's so nice to have you. This is like mind-blowing to me. You one day were inspired to quit your job and travel around the country sampling vegan restaurants.
Essentially, yeah. It didn't quite start out like that. I actually, it kind of came together in a few different things happening all at once. I had a really great 9-to-5 job with an animal welfare organization, doing what I thought was my dream job, everything I wanted. But I still felt unsettled, and I wasn't quite sure why that was. And around the same time, I started doing some research about lifestyle design, nomadic living. I kind of stumbled upon some resources about people who were traveling indefinitely and working from their computers, and this really resonated with me. And it got to the point where I just couldn't stop taking this information. I wanted to learn more. And at this point, too, I was already that annoying vegan friend who was taking pictures of her food whenever she was out in public at restaurants and making my friends wait to start eating while I was taking pictures of the food, and even at home when I was cooking and baking. So I'd fallen in love with vegan food after becoming vegan, always talked about wanting to travel, but never making the steps to have that happen. So I'm feeling a little unsettled, doing this research, finding out about this alternative lifestyle. And one day I jokingly wrote on my Facebook page that I wonder how long it would take to eat at all the vegan restaurants in the country, and that maybe I'd be up for this challenge. And I got a flood of responses from friends and family who thought it was a good idea, bad idea, they wanted to do it. And it was in that moment that I was reading that I thought, you know, if I could figure out how to make this work, how to work from the road or work from my computer, maybe I could travel and try food while I'm at it.
Well, there's got to be a lot of logistics in planning a trip like this.
Yes.
So how did you make that work? Because I assume it's not easy to just one day get in a car and start driving around the country without any planning.
Right. Well, it seemed as though I was talking about it so much that the pieces started to move in that direction before I even realized it. But essentially, when I got a hold of the idea and thought that I actually could do something like live out of a vehicle and travel around the country eating food, I decided to give my notice at my 9-to-5 job, and I started working more regularly for a vegan marketing company as their social media consultant. So I decided to work remotely for them as I was putting pieces of this together.
So you were making money while you were on the road?
No, not when I got on the road. The plan was to do that, but that actually didn't happen.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because eating in a restaurant, even like a couple times a week, is expensive, and you were eating every meal at a vegan restaurant.
This is true. Yeah, and paying for gas and everything. So what I ended up doing was starting a fundraising campaign through Kickstarter.com, and thankfully through some very generous donors, I exceeded my goal, and I used that money to purchase a vehicle and get everything in order.
How did you pick the restaurants that you were going to eat at?
It was a process. I knew that I wanted to focus on only 100% vegan establishments, mostly because not only am I vegan, but also it would have taken me forever to get through the journey if I included all the vegan-friendly places. So I had kind of a 5-step process. I was working with the founders of happycow.net, and they sent me a spreadsheet of all of the vegan places in the country. I was also working with vegdining.com and figuring out, they provided some resources as well where all the vegan eateries were. Then I would check Google and Yelp, and then finally, when I had my top list of restaurants, I would post them to my Facebook page on my Will Travel for Vegan Food Facebook page and ask my followers if I had missed anything. And so after all of that process, I would kind of go state by state and come up with all the restaurants and then figure out where they were within each state and then the best route to take to visit each one.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers are thinking that a year of eating pure vegan food at restaurants would kind of get redundant. Did you find a lot of variety? Or did you ever get tired of seitan? Was there some food that was just blew you away that was totally different from the rest of the food?
Absolutely. There was quite a variety, actually, and I'm lucky, we're all lucky today that there is such a variety, and there's essentially an alternative for nearly every traditional type of food. There's a vegan alternative.
Right.
So the variety was great. I never really got sick of too much. I would say there was a lot of Asian type of meals.
Right.
So there was a point where I was like, ooh, there's a lot of this going on. But with every other cuisine, there was really a variety, so it was very easy.
Did you gain any weight being at a restaurant every day of the week?
I did.
Yeah, I would think you would.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I actually hadn't really been keeping track, but what what really made me want to check actually one day was I had spent the summer months living in summer dresses and sundresses and comfortable flowy things, and when the months got a little cooler, I decided to throw on some pants that I had started with in the trip and realized they didn't fit anymore.
Oh no.
So I stepped on a scale the next place I saw one, just out of curiosity, and at that point I was 1 year into the trip and I had gained 15 pounds.
Oh,
yeah. And that was before I even got to the West Coast, so you can guarantee that between LA and Portland, I probably packed on a few more pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself, besides that you could eat your way into 20 pounds over a year, which I could do probably in a week? What did you learn about yourself on this journey?
That's always a really hard question to answer, because putting words to the emotional shifts that took place is really challenging. What I can say is that there were two major factors in what really affected me on the road trip. The first one was days of solitude at a time, being in parts of the country where it felt like I was the only person there and seeing things that were more beautiful than I knew existed. That was just incredible. And then the other was meeting literally hundreds of people, most of them vegan, and hearing their stories and getting to share that experience with them, and just being open to having dinner with someone that I met maybe online 12 hours earlier. Yeah. So those two contrasting things together really taught me a lot about myself and who I want to be going forward in life.
That's great.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people who may be watching and want to embark on a vegan lifestyle themselves?
I would say take your time, do your research, really find a support system, maybe a local vegan meetup that you can connect with. I think the most important thing is understanding why you want to do it and why it's interesting to you, because once you get that and feel it and know why, then it's easy.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Up next, we're learning how to get a better night's sleep, so stay tuned.